name's Michael. I'm the customer success lead here at Zano. So I started with Zano about 4 months ago, if you will. So my background before that actually hasn't been in the no code or development space at all. So I come from more of an industrial background and in sales. But last year when I was looking for a new job, I was really excited about some of the new technology that's come out. And I'm also from the San Francisco Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and I've heard of companies like Airtable, AppSheet, and Webflow, et cetera. So those are popular companies, right? So I knew this no code space was popular and kind of picking up momentum. And when I came across Xano and I met with our three co-founders, Jack being one of them, Sean and Prakash, was just really blown away by the product, how powerful it was, but B, how they wanted to, use this product to help people bring their ideas to life. And I think that's kind of what no code is all about, is enabling people who either, don't know how to code because they don't have the time and bandwidth, or don't have the capital to hire really expensive software engineers to develop them. So people can go in and build their own ideas, which is really amazing. And
How exactly you met the Jack and how you find about the Jano basically? And you,
how
if
did,
it is,
yeah, how did I personally find out about Sano? Yeah, so I was actually searching for the type of role I'm in on LinkedIn, and in the job description, they talked about how much of a team environment it is, how they were looking for someone who was really curious to learn about this space, and so I reached out to them, and they got back to me, and I had some really good conversations. I started to do my own research online a little bit about no code space and the company as a whole, and just really clicked with our co-founders, Sean, Jack, and Prakash. And I was fortunate enough that they wanted to extend me the opportunity to work with them. So that's how I came to be a part of Xano. And through used LinkedIn, which is a great professional platform to connect professionals, and then also to look for jobs. So
what is the who is really the target audience of Jano? Is it like everyone? Is it like indie hacker? Is it like big corporate? Who exactly is the target audience of Jano?
yeah, that's a really great question. And I think, as we evolve and mature as a product, I think the target audience today might look different than the target audience in the future. So today I think, our target audience is, a lot of people who come from either sort of like a developer or design background, but maybe are looking for a tool to help them work a lot quicker and be more productive, or if they just don't like to write code, right? Additionally, those two type of people, and also these sort of no code enthusiasts in the no code community, right? They know about these no code tools, and maybe they're looking for the next latest and greatest thing. But ideally, as we move forward, we want to be able to get to the point where Xano can be, a target for anyone who's got an idea and wants to build something. The kind of challenge that we're going through is we realize that this back end development stuff is sometimes a bit of a head scratcher. So, our goal is to, abstract the complexities around back end development, even though in a no code environment, it's a lot simpler than coding it yourself. There's still some concepts that, a normal person like myself before starting with Xano didn't really understand. So, we want to be able to kind of lead the way in educating both on a no code tool, how to make a back end, and then how to make an application. So that's kind of our goal moving forward.
Okay, simple card functionality. Is there any checklist or something one should go before even considering Jano as a backend?
Not necessarily any type of checklist. I think the interesting thing with backends is, as we're starting to discover, is a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people don't even think or consider about needing a back end solution until they need it, right? So when people are building out their ideas or their applications, they usually start with the front end, which makes sense, right? Because that's what you're going to be interacting with. And then, they take it so far, they realize that they need something to either scale a database or do some complex business logic in the background. And that's when they sort of come and find Xano. Additionally, there's some tools out there like Airtable, Google Sheets that a lot of people start in to store their data, and then once they need to do some more complex things and transform data in a better way, then that's kind of when they also come and maybe find a tool like Xano.
Share your like what exactly a roadmap of the Xenu. For example, if I'm a indie developer or I starting using a Xenu and considering my main backend server and I'm relying over the Xenu, is it because there is a lot of fear related to no code technology, no code tools? These all are startups,
Sure.
and after 1 year or 2 year, if they don't find a product market fit, they will shut it down. So what is the roadmap of the Geno, if I can ask?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for starters, I think the great thing about Xano is even though it's a new product, if you will, we've actually been around for about 8 or 9 years in a sense. The Xano has. So, like many no-code tools, it was born out of a development agency. So, our co-founders had a development agency developing different applications and softwares for various startups, and they wanted to keep their costs low and still move fast by not hiring more developers, right? Because those are expensive. So they created an internal tool to help them build the backends for these applications and softwares that they were developing for their clients. And after a number of iterations, they realized they had something really cool that could help the public. And so, they productized it, and that became Xano. So my point there being is, even though it's new as a product, Xano is as a backend is already powering um, hundreds of different use cases out of the development agency. Additionally, Xano at its core was built for scalability. So, our CEO and CTO, he was the original DevOps on Google Photos. So he basically took it from the server on his desk to the scale you see now. So, he knew how to scale a product. So he built that into Xano from day one. Right now we're hosted on the Google Cloud. We use Dockers to containerize everything, Kubernetes to scale, and it's on a Postgres SQL database, which you get the both of relational and non-relational databases and can scale horizontally and vertically. So, I think startups, shouldn't be afraid at all to, build something on Xano if their goal is to take it from MVP to, scale to the large general public. That being said, I know too your concern was, sometimes you see startups go for a couple years and then they fail. So what would happen if that happened to Xano, right? If we happen to close shop after a couple years and we have these startups, so what we would do is, we would help open source the platform so people could move it off and continue their business. But we don't anticipate to, no startup does anticipate to close their doors anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah, completely. And best of luck for the Geno. If for example, I sign up for the free instance and free, so will I get a separate server or is what exactly the backend?
Yeah, great question. So, how we structure the free plan is if you sign up for the free plan with Xano, you'll actually be on a shared server instance with other um, free plan users. And then, from there, we have a package called Starter. And, your performance is increased a little bit, but you're still on a shared server instance. However, one of the really unique things about Xano in the no code space is that from there, our next two packages, which if you're really looking to scale something, you actually go to your own dedicated server. So, so many no code tools are always, you're always on a shared instance. However, with Xano, yes, the free plan and the initial plan up from there, you're on a shared server, but, we built our upper tier plans to enable people who really want to scale so they have their own dedicated server instances. And, Docker is.
For example, I own a paid plan. I own a like paid plan and got a separate server. And usually I get a like for example 10,000 user per day, for example, and suddenly some traffic spike, and that leads to 2 lakh 3 lakh user. So that will automatically expand, or I need to make a manual request, or other user request will fail. What exactly the process?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. So, when you talk about Google Cloud, Docker's, Kubernetes, that's able to, scale as you do. However, if you were going to become an overnight sensation, we'd want to know about that to help prep that. I know that's not always predictable, but I think what we usually say, if you can trust Google scaling capabilities, Google Cloud scaling capabilities, you can trust Xano.
Yeah. Apart from them, how's the no code industry like in term of business? Like I know it is going good. A lot of schools are there. A lot of people are interested in like how big in term of business. I if I talk about how big is it is.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the interesting and exciting things about this space is it's brand new essentially. I mean, even though Bubble's been around for a number of years, we're seeing all these other tools pop up and being really popular just in the last few years. So I think too, we're at a very exciting time being able to be at the very early stage of this no code movement, this no code business, if you will. It's definitely picking up popularity. People are realizing they don't need to learn how to code and pay a bunch of money to be able to bring a product to market. Um, and and then additionally, I think a good indicator of the health of the no code market is just a couple days ago, Webflow secured a huge Series B funding of I think 140 million. So, that means to us is that there is a lot of interest in the market, and that people are seeing the real value of it. So we think it's here to stay, and we think it's going to help bring a lot cool new ideas out into the world, which previously had too many barriers to enter because either they didn't have the coding know-how or they didn't have the money to hire developers.
Perfect. So what will be the challenge there is specific to the no code platforms? Like from point of view the user and from point of view of the developer or the founders and teams, if you can summarize something. So what is the specific challenge to specific no code platforms?
Yeah, I think there's a number of challenges. I think for starters, there's still at least here in the United States where we're based, I think there's, some engineers have a little bit of a stigma about no code tools that it's limited. While some are, but then, you have tools like Xano coming out, which are essentially limitless. We, set out to create a Turing complete no code backend system, meaning anything you can do in a programming language, you can articulate in Xano without code. So I think there's still a little bit of stigma with some developers who are potential users that maybe they can't do everything they'd want in a no code tool. So a challenge for us there is being able to show people and explain that and articulate to them that hey, there's tools out here where you can do everything you need to do, and it's going to be a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot faster, right? So that's one challenge is fighting that stigma and then just educating people, right? As I said before, we kind of want to be this leader in education for no code backends. So when people, have a question maybe about how an API works or how to structure your database, because, not everyday people necessarily understand that, but they might have a great idea. Then we want to be the people they can come to with some education, and then also to make it easy in Xano. So abstract the complexities of everything you can do and just improve the ease of use as we continue even more and more to attract a larger audience.
And one more question is code backup. For example, I created one project in the Jano, and I have. Is there any some sort of backup facilities there? For example, by any means, I forget somehow my code is like code deleted or my project table deleted, and in the backend thing, as currently we use a Git. Basically, most of the time we use a Git to back up our code, versioning of our code. Is there any something sort of things available in Geno?
Right. So nothing right now that's available to the user. We have talked about having sort of like the most recent version of their workspace being available soon. We have it backed up. So if anything were to happen and you contacted us, we'd be able to restore kind of from the latest version. But there's talks about making that available for our users down the road. However, if you were to delete like just a single table, or say an API, right now we don't have a way to sort of undo that. So we do make it kind of hard to delete. We, ask like, are you sure you want to delete this before you do? But if down the road we do enable the users to kind of restore from the most recent version, then maybe that would solve that problem depending on what you do.
And one more thing, typically backend developer or even any developer work in the team, 4 to 5 developer in a team, and they share their code with each other. So in the Zeno, is there any facility to share the workspace with 2 or 3 people? For example, I am working in a same workspace and my friend also want to contribute in the project. Is there any way for him? All I need to share my credentials. Same
No, yeah.
thing.
So, we actually allow for a um, kind of a team of developers per instance. Once you get into our prototype and business, which are our top 2 tier plans. So once you're on those plans, you have different team seats, and you can share your instance with those different team members, and you can select, if you want them to be view only or you want them full edit mode. So that way that you can, share and work on the same projects at the same time.
To be and I want to learn the about the Geno. What are the resources are there? I saw is it very interactive support chat is there. They reply within a 24 hour that depend upon your plan and your YouTube channel that is quite updated with the tutorials. Apart from this, is there any other way a user can learn? Is there any official documentation, some sort of, or
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, we have a support chat in the tool. We have our YouTube channel, which I'm doing a ton of tutorial videos on there and creating them on a weekly basis. Additionally, we do have official documentations hosted on Gitbook. So you can either, search for Xano Gitbook, or you can even find a link to that within Xano. And then additionally, we have our forum where, I'm monitoring regularly. So are a couple other team members, and then also the community interacts there. So those are sort of official resources. Also, we just started hosting office hours on a weekly basis every Thursday. So the Xano team jumps on, and we give our users a chance to ask us questions about how to do something in Xano, about their applications, or just general questions that we can hopefully, help them out and get them down the right path. So, in terms of resources, the YouTube channel, our documentation, our support chat, our forum, and then Xano office hours.
so Geno Office Hour is a like series over the YouTube channel, or is something else?
No, so it's a live video call with multiple Xano team members. So you can sign up. You can find a post about it in the forum with links to the calendars, and we hold it every Thursday. So there's a beginner session and an advanced session, so 2 different calls, and then it'd be a live session where users can ask the team questions.
Okay, okay.